Okay, so this is Alba Bautista from Spain. This is her clubs from Portimao 2026 from this past May, current competition. I wanted to have a look at some of the club routines. I feel like I've looked at a few club routines, but I would like to see some more. So let's watch her routine and see what we think.
She always entertains.
Nice back skill. Fuertes are kind of choppy, and you kind of also might notice that she doesn't bring her foot all the way in every time. She also starts from a very turned in position. See if I can pause when she preps. So you can see she's almost prepping like a jazz turn, rather than like with a ballet technique, which, I mean, in rhythmic, I don't know. I guess you don't have to adopt a ballet technique, but most people do, I think. And at least when I was doing rhythmic, the way that I was taught to do fuertes was more from a ballet position, a fourth position, although the demand to be turned out isn't as much. It's still a turned out fourth position versus like more of this parallel position with the back heel off, which is pretty much like how turns are done in jazz. And then you can see that, but I mean, look, if it works for you to do nice turns, there's nothing wrong with prepping like this. But she's not doing that prep that I've talked about with some of the other gymnasts who are completely unsquare and have their butt completely back. It's just that she preps in a more parallel position. But then when she turns, it's like her foot is not completely touching every time. See, she's not bringing it all the way in. So it's basically like a deviation of the shape every single time. Of course, you're not getting a deduction for that every single time. I don't think you would receive that. I think it's overall because this is one skill. But it's also kind of messy, just the alignment of her hips and the way she plies and kind of hops back up. Just not the cleanest fuertes overall. And I'm sure if you watch other routines and other girls who she's competing against, you'll see various executions of fuerte turns, but you see a lot of cleaner fuerte turns than that. Very popular cascade toss nowadays from behind the back with 3 rolls was really nice. That's a nice side inclination too. The cameraman in this competition really likes to get creative, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's nice to just have a steady camera angle when you're watching rhythmic that doesn't just like keep switching. I did want to point out, and I know I've talked about this in previous videos, but the risks can be the same technique of the toss in this code of points, and a lot of girls just toss the same way for all of their risks or the majority of their risks. And you can see here that she's throwing again the same way as her first risk, which is 1 club behind the back into a cascade. This time she did chenets instead of forward rolls, and she trapped again, but it's the same throw. And that's allowed. I just prefer seeing more variety, and I feel like there's so many ways to throw the apparatus. It would be nice to see more variety, but since it's allowed to do this way, it makes sense to do it. Oh, good save there. So she obviously was supposed to trap the club probably on her side, like on her right side over here on the floor with the other club, but since the club was right in the middle by her legs, she was actually able to trap it between her knees, which isn't what she intended at all, but better than dropping. She did do a different risk here with a different technique on the toss, and that really just goes to show, even within a toss like a cascade throw, there are so many different ways to approach it that you don't have to repeat yourself. But I've talked about this before. It makes it easier if you repeat yourself because you can just train that same toss over and over again and become very skillful at it. And the same thing goes for some of these small throws that people do for apparatus difficulty, just slightly varying the catches, but it's essentially the same skill. There's that toss again. And see, that's where I do really think there's a flaw in the current code of points. I really think there's a flaw with the way that the risks are allowed to be repeated, because all you have to really do is change something about the risk. But in this case, she really didn't change anything. It's the same shenanigans, it's the same toss, and it's the same catch. She throws from one club behind the back, does a cascade, so one club behind the back, cascade, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into a front walkover, trapping on the floor with the other club. So she's throwing without hands, outside visual field. Here, she's doing a cascade. She does 4 shenanigans. It's very impressive. I mean, it's very impressive. I'm not taking away from what she's doing. It's just interesting that this is allowed, I think, from a perspective of like making the rules and the code of points. Why is this allowed is interesting, because here, same toss, 1, 2, 3, and a cartwheel. It is essentially the exact same skill. She actually, the only difference is she did a 4th shenanigans. It's the same throw, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3 shenanigans, step, cartwheel. She had to wait a little bit. She actually executed it better when she did the 4th shenanigans because she didn't have to wait. 4 shenanigans this time. But again, when you think about doing a training session with clubs, you can just practice one toss over and over again and get so good at this very complex and difficult toss, where you throw the first club off the club behind your back and the next club in a cascade. And if you aren't familiar, a cascade has to show both clubs in the air at the same time. So you have to throw the next club before you catch the first one. And then you execute the elements of rotation for a risk. So you work on that particular toss many, many, many times, and you get very good at throwing it high and far. And then you can add rotations like she did twice here with shenanigans, and she did once with forward rolls. Now with the 3 forward rolls that she did in the beginning, it's a little bit different trajectory than when you're throwing with shenanigans. In general, with shenanigans, you throw up more, and with forward rolls, you throw a little bit more forward. They travel a bit more. With 4 shenanigans, you will be throwing a little bit higher than with 3 shenanigans, although it looks like she actually threw exactly the same, and that's why she had to wait when it was 3 shenanigans and not when it was 4 shenanigans. She's very practiced at this risk with the 4 shenanigans, which is very, very hard. You have to throw very high in shenanigans very quick. She timed it very well. But she does the exact same catch as well. Just catching is a very popular catch with clubs, where you catch one club with the other club against the floor. Very, very popular catch, and she does it 3 times now, 4 times. Well, it should have been 4 times because she messed up the risk where she caught it between her knees. That was going to be this catch as well. She did this on the triple roll, she did this on the triple shenanigans, and she did this on the quad shenanigans here. So it's just a lot of times catching like that. It's a lot of times doing that same cascade, and a lot of times doing shenanigans under the throw. And all of this is allowed. And she's not doing this because she's not good enough to do anything else. On the contrary, she's certainly good enough to do many other types of things. It's just the way the code is built right now. And I tend to be critical of it because I think that it would be better for the sport to have more variety shown. Because if you've been around rhythmic gymnastics, or you've trained it, coached it, been a fan of it, you know there are so many different things you can do with the apparatus. It's like you could always find a new variety of something to do. You don't have to do the same thing, especially when you're at this level and you can do so many different varieties. I want to point out her dance steps here. I think they start here. Really cool way to end the routine with the dance steps. She did something that might often be considered a little risky, which is to start your dance steps on the floor. Starting your dance steps on the floor is something that I would not advise a more development level gymnast to do, because the judges may not understand where the start of the dance steps are when you start your dance steps on the floor. If you start them standing and then go to the floor and then get back up, it's much more understandable where they start and finish, unless you are so artistically developed to where you can start your dance steps on the floor and we don't have any doubt where they start. Alba, I mean, I had no doubt that this was her dance steps, that she started here on the floor, right here. It's really obvious. And I just think it's really cool. Very beautiful steps and at the end of the routine. Very beautiful dance combination at the end. She also did a dive split leap with a toss catch under the leg. I love dive rolls. I've said this before. I'm a big fan of dive rolls. They just look so cool. And for those who might wonder, no, you don't have to do a full split in a dive split leap. It's not a body difficulty. It's an element of rotation. It's an acrobatic element. So no, you don't have to do a full split in the leap. And you can do any like leg position that goes with your choreography. Like she does a little bent back leg situation here. That kind of goes with the theme of her routine. She intentionally bent her knees in the front walkover. She intentionally bent her knees in the cartwheel. She had a couple other elements that were like flexed or bent. And this is just a really, really intricate and unique thing at the end there. Well, I thought that was a beautiful routine. Of course, I am critical of this repetitions with the risks, but that is not a criticism of her. I think outside of the fouette turns were the only element in the routine that I would say could really have been executed better. Slightly, she paused with that risk with the triple chaîné. It was a really well executed routine, really, really beautiful. You can see the little fist pump here. She knows that she did the routine well. It was done very, very well. And the fouette turns were still credit. I just find them not as aesthetically beautiful as some. I really enjoyed her artistry. I think overall she had some great moments like this balance. Well, the feed kind of paused there, but she had a really nice shape. She also had a great side inclination and a great back scale. Her 3 balances were very well executed. One more look at her beautiful dance steps at the end. She was just so in the moment at the end of the routine. It's kind of nice to have the routine ending with the dance steps like that, because it's not particularly hard or risky. It's just really being in the moment with the artistry. So Alba Bautista, really, really great gymnast to watch. I really enjoyed her routine, and I definitely like to see more of her.